I live in a neighborhood called Pine Meadow Ridge, a place that sounds peaceful, doesn't it? It's one of those carefully curated suburban developments, where every lawn looks like a stock photo and every mailbox is identical. When I moved in, I figured it'd be a nice, quiet place to enjoy my gardening, walk my dog, and just be left alone. And for a while, it was most folks kept to themselves, waved politely, and minded their business. Then came Lana Penrose, or as I came to know her, Karen in Lululemon. Lana lived 3 houses down. She wasn't officially on the HOA board, but she acted like she was the president, sheriff, and zoning commissioner rolled into one. The real HOA was barely functional, more like a group chat of mildly annoyed retirees who met once a quarter for wine and passive-aggressive policy updates. Lana, though, had taken it upon herself to be the enforcer of every imaginary rule she believed should exist. Her favorite thing cutting diagonally across my lawn like it was a public trail. Now, to be clear, my lawn isn't huge, but it's mine. I've spent years cultivating the grass, planting flowers, edging it just right. I don't have fences nobody in the neighborhood does, but there's an unspoken rule about respecting property lines. Lana never got the memo. Every day, she'd leave her house in some brightly colored athleisure outfit, earbuds in, coffee in hand, and march straight across my grass like she was Moses parting the green sea. The first time I caught her, I assumed it was a mistake. "Hey there." I called out, friendly enough. "Would you mind using the sidewalk? I'm trying to grow in that patch, and it's a bit delicate." She looked me up and down like I was speaking another language and replied, "It's just grass. You can't honestly expect people to walk around when it's right here." Then she just kept walking. I tried to sign one of those cute little gnome ones that says, "Please stay off the grass." The next morning, it was gone. Not broken. Not moved. Gone. I later spotted it, half buried, sticking out of a yard waste bin at the curb in front of Lana's house. That was when I realized I wasn't dealing with someone who made honest mistakes. I was dealing with someone who thought the rules didn't apply to her. Next came the fencing. Not real fencing, just a decorative little barrier from the garden center. Maybe a foot tall, just enough to signal a boundary. I lined it across the edge of the lawn she always cut across. The next day, I watched from my window as she slowed her pace, considered the obstacle, and then stepped over it. Just lifted her leg like she was at yoga class and marched right through the flowers I'd just planted. I called the HOA not to file a complaint, but to ask if there was a formal way to get a no trespassing sign approved. The guy who answered sounded exhausted. "Technically, we don't allow signage on front lawns," he said, "unless it's holiday-related or approved landscaping decor." I explained that someone was literally walking through my property every day, killing my grass. His solution: "Have you tried speaking with her?" Yes. Yes. I had. Speaking didn't work. Signs didn't work. Decorative fences didn't work. So, I started brainstorming. I wanted something that didn't hurt anyone but made a point. I wasn't going to break the law, but I wanted her to feel the violation. My friend Nate came over one night and we talked it out over beers. "You need something annoying," he said, "like glitter, or one of those color run powders. Make her regret every step." And that's when it hit me. Those colored powders from fun runs, non-toxic, biodegradable, and impossible to ignore. I spent the next week researching and building what I started calling color mines. They were simple, really. Little plastic containers, buried just under the sod along her usual shortcut. Inside, that could bright powdered cornstarch in vivid pink, blue, green. Each was rigged with a basic spring mechanism that puffed the powder upward when stepped on. No wires, no explosions, just air pressure. It took me 3 nights to finish 6 devices. I buried them carefully one early morning when I knew no one would be watching except the raccoons. The next afternoon, I made sure to be home at just the right time. 3:20 p.m.? That's when Lana always made her grand march to the mailbox. And right on cue, there she was, earbuds in, visor on, smug little power walk in full swing. Her foot hit the first pressure plate and poof, a brilliant cloud of neon pink shot up from the grass, covering her shin. She stopped mid-step, confused, then poof, electric blue. She stumbled back, shouting, and that's when poof number 3 hit her dead center with lime green from my window. She looked like a living art experiment. Pink and blue streaks down her legs, green across her sneakers, all against the white of her yoga pants. She was stunned, then furious. She looked around, spotted me watching from behind the curtain, and stormed to my door. I met her with the calmest face I could muster. Oh my gosh. Lana, what happened? Are you okay? You know what happened? She shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at me. Your grass attacked me. Attacked, I said, blinking. Lana, it's grass. And it looks like color powder? Maybe it's some weird seasonal pollen. Have you been walking across my lawn again? Don't gaslight me, she hissed. You set traps. You can't booby trap your property. Booby trap is such a strong word. I replied. Maybe trespass deterrence. She stormed off, threatening to call the HOA, the police, and maybe even the EPA. And true to her word. The next morning, I got an email from the HOA titled Urgent Hazardous Condition Complaint. Apparently, the powder had been classified as non-approved landscaping material, and they were investigating me for unauthorized subsurface modifications. I sent back an ingredients list, cornstarch, and food dye. Then came the cops. 2 officers, one of whom I'd seen around before, knocked politely. Sir, one said, your neighbor claims you're using explosive devices on your lawn. It's corn powder. I explained, leading them to the garage where I had one disassembled. No fire, no spark, no projectiles. Just a spring and compressed air. They looked at each other. Weird, but not illegal. One muttered. They advised me to take them out to avoid civil liability and suggested she could still sue me if she claimed injury or trauma. Trauma from stepping in cornstarch? America. The HOA kept sending violation notices. My mailbox looked like a rainbow of fines. But something else happened too. Lana stopped. She didn't cut across my lawn once after that. She'd take a wide detour down the sidewalk, sometimes even crossing the street to avoid coming near my property line. The neighborhood kids thought it was hilarious. One of them asked if I'd set up a paintball course. Eventually, I removed the color mines. I figured the message had been received, loud and powdery. I emailed the HOA very professionally, stating the experimental devices had been removed. I didn't apologize. I didn't admit fault. I just ended it. And that was that. Lana and I still don't speak, which suits me fine. The HOA hasn't bothered me since, other than a note about trimming my hedge to regulation height. My lawn still mine, still green. And now, gloriously untouched. Sometimes, when reason fails, when people trample boundaries and ignore decency, you have to get a little creative. Not violent, not harmful, just inventive. A puff of harmless color can go a long way.